Hey, everybody, it's Shane Rice here, and joined today by Rebecca, Heather, and Jess. And we're going to be talking about automating Google Analytics reporting in Google Sheets. And so I'm going to jump right into screen sharing now. And if y'all have any questions, please let me know. All right. So let's see. Yes, we'll start here with this untitled spreadsheet. Great. So you need to start here in the add-on section. So if you've never looked at this, there are a ton of add-ons you can plug into Google Sheets. And so if you click on Get Add-ons, you'll search for Google Analytics. And this is, if you click into it, you'll see it's made by Google. And so it used to be clearer, maybe because I've got it installed. Maybe it's down here. Yeah, so it's built by Google, maintained by Google. So this is, add-on I trust. I don't really add many add-ons because it's kind of like, a browser extension. You want to make sure you understand who you're giving access to. So this Google Sheets add-on is one that I use. This GTM tools by Simo Ahava. He is an amazing practitioner in Google Tag Manager. And so he built this tool that I use, but I trust him, right? So anyway, so Google Analytics, what we're here for today. So to start, once you've added the add-on, you just click Create New Report. And what that does, it pops up this window here where you'll be able to select a few options to help you jumpstart your report configuration. So for this one, we'll just name this GitLab test. And then here you select the account. So if you have any Google account that has multiple properties, you select the one you want here. And then GitLab, that's one we want. And then we want main view because this is the one we build our reports off of. There's some specific filters here that in Sisense and Data Studio that we kind of look for. So by default, Google Analytics doesn't add the entire path to a page. You just see like the subfolder down. So because we have multiple subdomains in this same property, we wrote a filter that displays the full URL in Google Analytics. So that's why you want to use main view. So metrics. So if you click here, it'll give you a drop down you can select. So let's see, I think, metrics, we've got page views. So let's go just page views for something simple. And then dimensions. So let's see, day, let's see, day of week, let's do week of the year. And then we'll create a report. But we're not done because there's lots of options that we can use to automate this even more. And so if we want to filter down, we can even set that here. So by default, the date range is 30 days ago is the default and then ends with yesterday. But you can use the today function to really play with this. So you can even say, let's see, equals, I think it's EO month. So you can say, all right, so start date is today. I think this needs to be in parentheses. And then -1. So that sets a hard day of that formula just tells, okay, so whatever the last day of last month was, it goes in this field. So you can also play with this. I think there's there's one that's just month, I think. And then oh, I remember the trick. Hold on, this is tricky. All right, so you got to go end of month and then -2, then +1. Yeah, so you have to do that. And then so what that does is you say, okay, so give me the end of the month in whatever month period you're looking for. So if you want to do 12 months, right? You want to look at the last year, you would say 13 and then +1. So without this +1, it would just say, okay, end of the month in February last year. But when you add that +1, it iterates the date to the beginning of that month. this may be too down in the weeds, but I've used this like really, really, it's a really powerful tool, especially when you have odd dates like we do for our fiscal year that aren't in Google Analytics at all. And so that's primarily why I use this, because it was a quick way to be able to show quarter activity, fiscal year activity, those things. So that's why it's helpful. And so you can also say on this, you can say end of month, today -1, and that'll give us a full year. And then so we can say, all right, page views by week. We could also say, let's see, page here. So we want to see page views by page. And then let's see. There is a dimension explorer there where you can find all of the metrics and dimensions that you can use in this. And I'm looking for that link. I'll add it to our the description on this as well. Where is it? Too bad it's not here. So let's go GA Dimension Explorer. Here we go. So let's see, page. All right, so this is why I came to check this, because I didn't think page was right. So you have to put in GA:page path to get that page, and then path. And then you can also have another dimension. You can say GA week we had earlier. And then you can go filters here and you can say, okay, so GA page path. And then you want to say, I think it's start. So you can use RegEx, regular expression, which is both really helpful, but can also be really infuriating. I'm not great at RegEx, but I kind of brute force my way through things there. There's some tools you can find that will help you validate and like search through, make sure that your RegEx is written to capture the data you want. I got really good at this when I started, because up until about a year ago, all of our blog posts were year, month, date. And it was really hard to build reports for the blog. And so I wrote RegEx that would just pull out page views that match that blog folder configuration. Now it's way simpler, because we just have, you do /blog and that's all the blog. So rather than get too wrapped up in the RegEx, because I'm going to get it wrong, I have to look it up all the time. Let's just run this report and see if there are any errors. So to run the report, once you've built this out, you just go back to the Google Analytics add-on and you click Run Reports. And it'll give you a status here. And if everything's built right, you got all the metrics, dimensions, dates right, it'll return a green message to say success. And it's faster. Okay, cool. So one request completed successfully. So now you can see, okay, so some very weird looking pages there. So we can also go back to this first and we can say, all right, so order. So for order, we can set the sort value here. Let's see. I think we might have to say minus page view, something like that. Let's just see what happens. We'll run this again. All right, so now we go back to this GitLab test view. Okay, so it's opposite. So let's go. I think if we put a minus at the front, it'll just sort descending. And if you use this tool, this has all been trial and error for me. And so don't feel like you're going to break anything. This just connects to the Google Analytics API and pulls the data you're asking for back. If you mess something up, it'll just tell you, there's an error. I can't do this. And then you can use that error to kind of help build out the report from there. So here we go. Yeah, that's perfect. So you can now see, okay, so we've got this page called other. I don't know why it's got this many page views, but it does. But now you can see the homepage and the weeks of the year that had the highest visits to the homepage based on the year index, right? So it's not surprising here. So you think about the period we're looking at, right? We're looking from March 1 of 2020 to February 28th of 2021. So the week index for February are actually going to be these weeks, right? Because it's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th week of 2021. So, and then you can see as you go down lower, other weeks of the year that were also higher. And so you can build filters to say, okay, so I only want to see the homepage, or I only want to see pricing, or I only want to see pages in this subfolder. And so that's kind of some of the things I've done around this. And I'm about done with the demo. The last thing I want to show you on this is you can schedule reports. So, create a new report, run your reports manually. You can also schedule these reports, right? And so you can say, okay, enable reports to run automatically, schedule reports to run, and you can say every week, every month, whatever you need. And then if you do, every week, it'll ask you what day, and then time, same thing on month. So that expands out. The other thing we can do with this that's super powerful is we can import the data. So let's say import range, and then we'll go back to the spreadsheet and just say, let's see. Oh, hold on. Spreadsheet URL. All right, so let's get that. And then we want, let's see, GitLab, no, test. And then I think it's 16 through D. And then I think it's going to give us an error, but let's see. Formula part. Okay, so I messed up the formula. When we get the formula right, what you can do is you can take any report you're building and automatically generating and import that into another sheet. You can also use that and import it into Google Data Studio, so it can be part of a dashboard. And so I don't want to take a lot of time if y'all have questions trying to figure out what I messed up in the formula. So before I try to figure this out, what questions do y'all have? And I'm gonna stop sharing for now.
I'm curious, like, what else we can track with this other than page views? Like, what are your top things maybe that you usually look at?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jess. And so it gives you some interesting abilities that are not as easily available in the Google Analytics interface. And so you can say, okay, so how many new users were on this page during this period? And so things like that. Whereas, in Google Analytics, new user data is just really focused on like channels. So organic search, social, those items. And in that report in Google Analytics, you can add a primary dimension of landing page, but you can't get a primary dimension for just a page to see what pages are new users coming to, right? So new users is one I use a lot. You can also use this to really automate some of the attachments around like sorry, my mind just went, source medium. So like you can do source medium. You can say, okay, so for example, one of the ways I use this, what kind of kicked this conversation off was we were building out the modeling for our inquiry targets for Q1, and Danielle was manually pulling data for specific channels over a year-long period. So she was manually going in and pulling like all the visitors, all the users who are coming from organic search, all the users who are coming from referrals, and it took a lot of time. Well, and so I created a sheet that did the same thing, but instead of it being like a manual pull every month, now it just gets automatically dumped into the model. And so anytime you see somebody that's like manually pulling that kind of data in Google Analytics and trying to get it into a spreadsheet, this is a great tool to use to automate that. And so it can be very a big time saver once you get past the hurdle of kind of learning the process. And then the other thing to take a look at there, Jess, as well, is the Dimension and Metrics Explorer. It's really helpful in telling you the name you need, but also like what data is there, how to think about it, those kind of things.
So Shane, I know you recently added the blog categories as would that be a dimension? Is that something that we can pull in and I guess sort by? I'm uncomfortable with data stuff. I'm trying to get better at it.
No, that's a great question, and you absolutely can. So in Google Analytics, you have the built-in dimensions and the built-in metrics, and you can add custom dimensions. You can add custom metrics, but I don't really mess with that too much. I usually just focus on custom dimensions. And so some of the custom dimensions we have in our Google Analytics profile include items from a demand base, like our account-based marketing tool that is kind of coming in and adding firmographic data to help us understand, where customers are coming from a work perspective, or I'm sorry, visitors are coming from a work perspective. And then we have some other custom tags that we've added for blog tags, blog type or post type, blog category, and those are available. But when you look at them in like the Dimension Explorer, they're not going to be explicitly outlined. So you would call it's like GA : custom dimension 32 or whatever custom dimension that item is in, and then it'll pull that data for you.
Where would I find what it's called?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's in Google Analytics. Let me pull that up and I'll share my screen. Just one second. I gotta. All right, finally loaded. Great. All right, so all right, great. So when you're here, so if you don't have access to this, like as an ad, you don't have the admin view where you can see this. You can just ask an admin and they can get it for you. You come in here to custom definitions, and then you open the custom dimensions menu. And then you just kind of expand this out, and then you can also search, obviously. But in this case, blog category is index number 31. So it'd be custom dimension 31. And so, hold on. I think let's just go ahead and do that now. Let me make sure I've got custom dimension set up right as far as what I'm thinking about. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's what I need. And then if we add this to the report, we can reconfigure this to say, it's not gonna have much. Actually, I had to reset the date because it won't have any data if I say the 28th. So let's see, custom dimension 31, and let's just let's see, 1, and then let's make this today -1. That way we'll just get everything before today. Oh no, I messed that up. Equals today. Okay, that's all I need. Great. All right, so let's run this report now. Google Studio, run report. All right, so now if we go to the tab here, boom, now we have this GA dimension 31. We should be able to rename that somewhere, but that's the blog category. And that tells you how many page views by each post. You could even, if you wanted to just see the categories and how each category is performing, you could remove the page path and it will just give you that category number. So yeah, that's this is bothering me. Import range. All right, so we need the spreadsheet URL. I got that. I just need this. All right, so let's go. And then does it? Oh, I think I know what I need. And then let's see, GitLab test A16 through D. Boom. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So when you get it right the first time, what the sheet will say is like, "Hey, I don't have access to this." So now you have to allow access to that sheet. And as long as you own it or it's owned by somebody at GitLab, it's fine. Okay, so cannot find range or sheet for imported range. That's fine. That's better than the error. And then you just go in here and you can, update that path, or excuse me, that formula to hit the right range so that you can pull that data in. So I just wanted you to be able to see that you have to. It will give you an error at first, and then ask you to allow access. Then once you do that, everything's fine.
So Shane, can we also use it to track custom events?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the events, you just go. So I've done this a lot too, because we have so many events around CTAs and other items, right? So when you go here, you search for events, and then you have you can have the metrics, so the total number of events or unique events that have happened, and then you can also you can do event category. So like the event dimensions are going to be event category, event action, event label. And so you just have to, like, for example, thinking about our submit events. So you would say, when you're building the filter, you would say, all right, so event category equals forms. And then, page, the label equals, trial, or whatever form you're wanting to kind of report around. And then you could, definitely build all that out.
Awesome.
So what questions haven't I answered? What can I explain further? I know this is like a crash course, and there's a lot here. So, please pepper me with what you got.
If we wanted to learn more about this, do you have any recommended resources to kind of guide us?
Yes, I will. So there's a couple of posts that I refer to that really are really helpful on the RegEx side specifically. And so I'll add those in the video description. And then be sure to tag everyone here so you can, follow up on those. I don't have them off the top of my head, but Seer Interactive, they're a paid, primarily a paid search agency. They also do analytics. And so they've written some great resources around using this add-on. All right, well, we're a little bit over time, so I don't want to keep everyone. I appreciate y'all hanging out and being willing to ask some questions and help improve this quick tutorial. If you need anything, you start building this and you have questions, let me know.
I have a question, Shane. Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, it's okay.
I may have an access issue. Basically, it tells me I have no Google Analytics accounts with data, so I don't know. And maybe that's related also to the dashboard why I can't.
Yeah, I think it could be for sure. So what we need to do is we just need to get an access request in so you can have access to Google Analytics. There's no problem there. Let me just make sure that you're not. Yeah, I don't have you in a group right now. So if you want to do AR and get your manager to approve, we can get that set up. No problem.
Okay. All right, cool. Then I assume I'll be able to get those dashboards set up again.
Yeah, you can get the dashboards and start building these reports and the whole 9 yards.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Shane.
Yep. See y'all later. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.